Hi, this is R.N. Bhaskar from BKBB, an acronym for Bhaskar Ki Business Batein. It's good to have all of you here today. It's the morning and have a lovely day, but that's again later. And this is a channel that comes to you with policy analysis, with conversations and occasional business stories. But right now, it is news behind the news, 8:15 in the morning, Mondays to Fridays. And my co-anchors today are Katya. Welcome, Katya. And Saloni. Welcome, Saloni. It's good to have both of you. And the three of us together are going to discuss the following titles. Have a look at them. The first is how the rupee falls again and could fall further. The second is how Indian millionaires are blossoming. And the third is on tax collections, how they're climbing. Let's take the first story first. After 4 days of climbing, the rupee started falling. And we suspect the rupee started climbing earlier because the dollar became stronger. Remember, the rupee is falling against a falling dollar. So when the dollar gets a little stronger, there's a chance that the rupee could have got stronger because of a stronger dollar, and the dollar became stronger temporarily because of a rate cut announcement by the Fed. But once that little euphoria was over, with given the sharp comments by the Fed chairman, the dollar fell and the rupee fell further. As we said last time, when we just did the video, we analyzed it just a few days ago, the rupee is the worst performing Asian currency. And the rupee is likely to continue falling because India's exports haven't taken off. Partly because of Trump, and partly because we've not explored new markets. And imports will climb because many of the imports are crucial for India. India is import intensive. We need the imports to export. So, what does that mean? If the rupee starts falling, can inflation not climb? I mean, there's a correlationship between the rupee falling and the inflation taking place. Because imports are going to get expensive, goods are going to get expensive. You can't conceal it too long. So again, why I say this is because there's a mismatch in the data. Inflation going down, imports climbing, and at the same time the rupee weakening. Numbers don't make sense. Something has to give way very soon. Anyway, that's the first story. Let's take the second one, which is very, very interesting about millionaires in India. Katya, could you come in?
Again, bright news after your, dull news. So basically, Hurun has come up with a report. It's a very interesting one. It shows that millionaire households, like people who have $1 million, which is actually equal to 8.5 crores in net worth, has surged 90% to 8.71 lakh in 2025. That is very interesting news. So, and which is a city that has the most of these billionaire households? That is obviously Mumbai, because it has 1.242 lakh crores, a lakh of such households which have at least $1 million in assets. Delhi, a little less. In fact, half, 68,000. Bengaluru, it's a Silicon Valley of India, is 36,000, 31,000. But the interesting part is, in US it is, completely different. It's a Silicon Valley which has the most money. India, not so much tech, more finance. That's what it looks like. Maharashtra, interestingly, leads the state with 1.78 lakh of such households. Now, why is Maharashtra different from other states? Is because Maharashtra has 3 cities with 3 different, streams of wealth. Mumbai, obviously, the financial capital. Pune is the auto part, manufacturing and education. That is where its wealth comes from. Third, more interesting part is Nagpur. Nagpur is also industrialized. So with 3 cities in its, in the state, Maharashtra is tops. After Maharashtra and Delhi, the third state which takes cake is Tamil Nadu. The south, the gateway of the south has been actually doing very well for the last few years because of industrialization, etc. So there's an interesting quirk here. Between 2017 and 25, 1 million households, the households which had $1 million in assets, went up 445%. If you take it a little ahead to 1.2 million, they went up to 100%. But in only 5% of these millionaire households have crossed into UHNI category. Okay, so which is where you have around to at least 12 million. Obviously, in a much smaller number, 0.1% turn into billionaires. So billionaires is very, very difficult. But what I'm trying to say is you require a lot more than stock market investments and real estate to move from a millionaire to an HNI to a UHNI. So that path is really, really, really steep. So what do you think, sir? Do you think this whole financialization that is happening, a lot of business heirs moving from, just managing their businesses to managing money? So money management is not going to get you that steep growth, right? Only a business, if you have a really good business, you build value and you IPO it, you probably could become a UHNI from an HNI. But just money, giving money is only this much. What do you think?
Well, very interesting data. And it's
Mm,
good to know that we are producing more millionaires now. The number of millionaires keeps growing. But
mm,
the base remains weak. The base remains weak, and that's worrisome for a country as an economy.
mm,
But there's another issue. I do not know whether you can drill down these numbers to look at whether the growth in millionaires was because of real estate on the one hand and gold on the other.
no, 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 that is conjecture.
That's conjecture, pure conjecture. Because
Right.
suddenly asset values have climbed. Even a middle class family which had Sridhan, the gold that comes in from the ancestral gold that comes in from the parents, their daughter,
Mm,
that gold has suddenly appreciated in value.
mm,
So I suspect that real estate and gold could have contributed a bit to this increase
mm.
and not really cash. Of course, the millionaires make cash all the time,
All right.
but the climb could be aided by these two factors of asset values
Value
climbing.
boost. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even
That's
stock
it.
markets, I
And stock
believe.
market. Stock markets again last 1 year, last 6 months at least have been muted. While gold will keep on climbing, assets also may climb. In Chennai, they're climbing.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Anyway, that's good. But let's take the third one, which is again a story of increase, and that's the tax collection. Saloni, come in.
Yes, sir. So, according to the data released by the government, the net direct tax revenue has risen by 9.18% to over rupees 10.82 lakh crore in financial year 26 till September 17. This happened as refunds witnessed a steep decline of 23.87%. Gross collection rose by 3.39% during this period. As per the data released by the Income Tax Department, the total gross tax collection amounted to rupees 12.43 lakh crore, while refunds stood at rupees 1.6 lakh crore. Advance tax collection grew by 2.9% to rupees 4.48 lakh crore, out of which corporate tax amounted to rupees 3.52 lakh crore, which is a surplus of 6.11%. And on the other hand, non-corporate tax amounted to rupees 96.7 thousand crore, which is minus 7.3%. The net corporate tax collection stood at over 4.72 lakh crore, rupees 583 crore for non-corporate tax, rupees 26,000 crore for security transaction tax, which is STT, and rupees 291 crore classified as other taxes. So, sir, if we compare it with the last year's data, the financial year 2025, net direct tax net direct tax collection for the same period stood at rupees 9.91 lakh. The advance collection between April 1 and September 17 in FY25 stood at rupees 4.36 lakh crore. For financial year 26, the government has set a direct tax collection target of rupees 25.2 lakh crore, representing a 12.7% rise over the previous years, and aims to reach rupees 78,000 crore from the Securities Transaction Tax, which is STT. What do you think, sir?
Good to know that the government's tax collections have not slowed down. With GST slowing down, with the economy itself not growing at a very impressive rate, I was afraid that tax collection might be muted, but they're growing. But as you rightly point out, gross collections have been less than net collections because refunds have fallen. I do not know whether refunds have fallen because of the delay in refunds or whether refunds are actually fallen. It's unlikely that refunds will fall actually because the tax department always makes aggressive assessments and collects tax. Advance tax has gone up only by a marginal amount. So refunds might be the big explainer of what is happening to tax collections in India. But thanks, Saloni. Very interesting news. Good news. Thanks. And that takes us to the last part of the session, which is comments and questions. But before I go there, my usual reminder. Please click the subscribe button. And yes, please click the like button also, because that helps us. And the last part is, please tell all your friends about us. It helps us grow faster. And now let's look at the comments. There's one comment that's come in. How is the rupee holding falling? Well, rupee holding is falling partly because the RBI tries to intervene and you don't want inflation, so you control the rupee supply. So rupee holding will fall. But more importantly, the RBI cannot intervene in the market endlessly because it will exhaust all its reserves. When the market is weak, when the Indian rupee is weak, the RBI's intervention go only up to a certain point. After that, the RBI's intervention will slow down, otherwise it will exhaust its reserves. The reserves are dry powder kept for some other day. And that takes me to the next question about millionaires. Is having more millionaires good? Katya?
Obviously, sir. So millionaires, it's a very, very good idea. More millionaires, more assets. But I recently heard somebody put it very interestingly, the top 1% of India lives like Bahrain. The rest, there is a chunk of, 10-20% which lives like UK. Then there's a large chunk which is the middle class, lives like Brazil. And a very large chunk lives like Africa. So,
Very true,
millionaires,
very true.
so money
That's a
should
good,
also
that's a good analogy. Yes.
money should trickle down, and asset value should hold up. So a lot of people are saying real estate is close to a bubble, stock markets are very, very overheated, etc., etc. But we'll see how it goes. But like I said, the idea should not be HNI, it should be a UHNI. And to become a UHNI, you cannot just invest money and sit on assets. You have to build something, build value. So that's how it works.
Yes, and ultimately, if the millionaires invest in this country, it creates more jobs and more wealth. That
Right.
is what the government policy should be focusing on. I think I'll call it a day today. And yes, thanks for being with us. And as for today, have a wonderful day ahead. Let it be profitable and fruitful for you. Good luck to you.